Hey, welcome back to the channel. You like my shirt? Stole it from my husband. I try to match the shirts to the cover of the book because why not? You know? And I don't actually have a vacation-y type shirt. So today we're discussing Parish in Paradise, which is a cozy murder mystery that takes place on a luxury cruise liner. I don't have the book. Some of the books, as soon as I got done reading them, my friends were like, I need to read this book now because I've talked about it so much. So it's currently, the book is on vacation because my friend who borrowed it is going on vacation and reading it while she's on vacation, so that should be fun. Hopefully she doesn't find any dead bodies. Parish in Paradise is by Christian Wright, and it follows Iris May on a luxury cruise, and it kind of goes back and forth between 10 years in the past and present day. And the main character, Iris May, is the lead detective. So it'd be easier. Okay, so it's kind of a crazy ride of a book. So 10 years ago, Charles Underwood's wife Stacy went missing. There was a boating accident. Everybody got to shore except for Stacy. Nobody was found. Nobody knows what happened to her. Iris May's husband was the lead detective on the case. 5 years after Stacy went missing, Iris's husband Henry passed away before ever solving the case. Iris, fast forward to present day, 5 years after her husband's death and 10 years after Stacy went missing, is on a luxury cruise liner that her son helped pay for, and she finds out that Charles Underwood is on this cruise. But unbeknownst to her, there's a lot of other people who are on this cruise who have connections not only to Charles Underwood but also to the case 10 years ago. And the first day at sea, there's this pool party and everything, and everybody's getting to know each other, and then the next morning Iris goes up to go for a swim and finds Charles Underwood dead in the pool. And she's freaked out about this, of course, because dead bodies are not necessarily her forte. She's not an investigator. She was a housewife, you know. So she finds the dead body and she alerts the captain and everything. The captain comes up and a whole investigation gets underway. And as she's going through and figuring out who killed Charles, because she has a personal interest in this, not just because she's freaked out about the fact that Charles Underwood is killed, but also because this was a case her husband never got to solve, and she wants to solve it for him and do good by her husband. But also she's realizing that there's a lot of people. She eventually finds out that these other people are on the ship that are connected to him, and they've all won tickets conveniently to the same cruise, which she finds very suspicious. And so now she's really worried because she herself has a connection, and what if somebody has brought everybody together for a nefarious purpose? Obviously, someone's already dead. I will say that Iris kind of annoyed me because she strikes me as kind of a gossip hound a bit, because every time she turned around she was telling people, oh yeah, it was a dead body in the pool, I found it, I know exactly who it was and everything. And nobody has told her to investigate. Nobody has told her not to say, which is really weird on the captain's part. Like, why would you not tell her, don't say anything about a dead body in the pool, you know? But she doesn't. He doesn't, and so she does, and everybody she meets, she tells about the dead body before she even knows that they have a connection to Charles Underwood. And of course the killer is like, hey, can't have you nosing around, so he's going after her as well, or she. There's so many people. I think there's like 2 men. One is a private investigator, one is friends with somebody who was taken advantage of. One is a reporter, one is an ex-lover, and one was the daughter of her mother's... One was the daughter of Charles's secretaries. But yeah, all these people, there's all these men, and no, there's more than two men. There's like 3 or 4 men in this. So, anyway, regardless, there are these 3 or 4 guys that are connected. There's these 3 or 4 girls. One girl is best friends with one of the guys. One guy is engaged to the other girl. Doesn't really matter how they're connected to each other. All that matters is how they're connected to Charles and why they would want him killed. And every single one of them has a motive for killing him. Even Iris, technically, if you want to be honest about it, has a motive for killing him because her husband died trying to died with this case plaguing him. So, really and truly, everybody has a motive. Ooh, thought I was going to sneeze there. Anyway, what I like about this is that there are some cozy mysteries that I do not like because the author tends to cheat, you know, and this author does not cheat, and I love that about this because while you can figure it out, it's not super obvious because there's enough red herrings, and the red herrings are legitimately placed. So, like, he was drugged. Charles Underwood was drugged before he was drowned. And everybody, with the exception of maybe 2 people, have that drug in their possession. The other 2 people have access to said drug. So there's plenty of misdirects that make sense and that aren't, like I said, cheating. But the author also doesn't hold any information back. And there's some mysteries that I've read where the detective is like figuring out everything and has all the pieces except for the pivotal piece, and then he kind of goes off, or she kind of goes off, depending on who the detective is. In this case, it's Iris, so it's a she. But so if like and the book changes point of views, and the point of views that it changes, like I said before, I don't necessarily like point of view changes, but this just made sense. Like, you could not tell the story properly without the point of view changes. And it's very easy, it would have been very easy for the author to say, okay, we're going to go into this person's point of view while the detective is over here doing something that you don't know anything about. And then you come back to the detective and she's already done her thing and figured out her thing. But then at the end, when she's wrapping up, she's like, this is the killer and this is why. And it's like, where was that piece of information? And, oh, I found it over here. Okay, but you didn't tell the reader you found it over there. The reader needs to know these. You need to give the reader enough information so that they can kind of try to put it together themselves. And Agatha Christie is a great example of this. She gives you all of the pertinent information. She gives you just enough information that if you will use what Hercule Poirot calls the little gray cells, you will piece it together yourself before the detective says, this is how it happened. And I would not compare Parish in Paradise to Agatha Christie at all, any of Agatha Christie's work at all, because it does lay it out very plainly for you that these are the pieces of information you need, but there's still enough misdirect that it's not super easy to figure it out halfway through the book. You know, I was 3/4 of the way through the book before I was like, wait, no, it can't be that person. And of course it is that person, you know. So I think how the mystery is strung out and how the information is given out is really good. Iris May was a little annoying, not my favorite main character, but I liked the story. And so if you're interested in cozy mysteries, the annoyance of Iris May is easy to get past, honestly. You just do. Like, everything she does is kind of excusable. It's annoying, but it's excusable. And because, I mean, if I found a dead body on a ship, I would be telling everybody myself. So I can't really be too mad at her. I would just think that being married to a detective, you would probably know better. I wouldn't, because I'm not married to a detective. I'm married to a carpenter. So, you know. I will link the book, as usual, in the description below. Like I said, some of these books I won't be able to display because they got sent out to people who were going on vacation, who wanted something to read on vacation. And so I will try to put a card up here somewhere where you can see a picture of it. If not, I mean, you got the thumbnail. So, that's all for now. I will talk to you guys later.